Assalamualaikum and welcome back to the news. Today's issues about Rohingya no passport, a crisis of record. First of all, I will introduce my team members, which are me, AWATIF, ZHAFRI, FARHAN, SHAARI and Atrisa. Now I will tell the factor related to the issues.
Rohingya refugees after an online petition demanding their expulsion gathered over 424,000 signatures. Launched on change.org, the petition claims that stateless minority strains public infrastructure and creates security risks. Its viral growth has been accompanied by intensifying social media backlash and the appearance of physical No Rohingya banners. The Human Rights Commission of Malaysia condemned the hostile rhetoric, urging citizens to remember that refugees do not move for economic gain, but they flee severe persecution and violence in Myanmar.
The first factor is poverty and poor livelihood condition. One of the main factors encourage Rohingya refugees to migrate to Malaysia is the lack of sustainable livelihood opportunities. For decades, the Rohingya have faced several restrictions on their ability to work legally, own property, operate business and access financial resources in Myanmar. As a result, many families live in extreme poverty and struggle to meet their basic needs such as food, healthcare and shelter. Even after fleeing to refugee camps in Bangladesh, many Rohingya continue to experience poor living conditions. Employment opportunities are limited and refugees depend heavily on humanitarian aid. This difficult economic condition motivate many Rohingya to seek better livelihood in Malaysia, where they hope to find employment, earn an income and improve their family's quality of life despite facing legal challenges. The second factor is better employment opportunities in Malaysia. Malaysia is considered an attractive destination for Rohingya refugees because it offers greater opportunities to earn an income compared to Myanmar and refugee camp in Bangladesh. Although Malaysia is not a signatory to the 1951 Refugee Convention and refugees generally do not have formal work rights, many Rohingya are still able to find employment in the informal sector, including construction, agriculture, manufacturing, restaurants and cleaning services. The possibility of earning wage allows refugees to support themselves and send remittances to family members who remain in Myanmar or Bangladesh. Existing Rohingya communities in Malaysia also provide information about available jobs, accommodation and social support. This making migration easier and reducing the risk associated with relocating. Okay, that's all the factor related to this issue. Now I'm passing to my friend ZHAFRI.
Thank you, Awatif, for sharing. Now I will continue with my part, which is the problem. The Rohingya refugee situation in Malaysia is not just a humanitarian issue. It's also a record management problem. I would like to walk through these three key problems with you. The first is incomplete or missing identity records. Many Rohingya refugees arrive in Malaysia without official identification because they fled conflict in Myanmar, making it difficult for authorities to verify identity and increasing the risk of duplicate registration and identity fraud. The second is poor record management and data sharing. Refugee information is managed separately by government agency and UNHCR using different systems, leading to inconsistent records, delayed information sharing, and difficulty tracking refugee status while protecting personal data. The second is data privacy and security. Refugees record contains sensitive personal information, including biometric data. Malaysia News Registration Program collect this data and rising concern about how it's stored, shared, and protected from misuse. Together, this problem show a clear pattern. Refugees often start with no usable record. The records that do exist are scattered across systems, and the sensitive data now being collected carries real privacy risk if not properly safeguarded. Now, I will pass it to Farhan to explain more of the issue much further.
Thank you for sharing, ZHAFRI. Now I will continue by discussing the Rohingya issue from the perspective of records technology. The first issue is poor records management and data sharing. Refugee information is managed by different organizations such as government agency and UNHCR using their separate databases. This can result in duplicate records, delays in updating information, and difficulties in tracking refugee status. The second issue is incomplete or missing identity records. Many Rohingya refugees arrive in Malaysia without official identification documents because they fled from conflict and persecution in Myanmar. Without proper identification, authorities face difficulties verifying their identities and maintaining accurate records. This increases the risk of duplicate registration, identity fraud, and delays in providing healthcare, education, and humanitarian aid. According to UNHCR, as of February 2026, Malaysia has approximately 250,600 registered refugees and asylum seekers, including 126,144 Rohingya refugees. This large number shows the importance of having an accurate and reliable records management system. The third issue is data privacy and security. Refugee records contain sensitive personal information, including names and biometric data. Malaysia's new refugee registration program collects biometric information, raising concerns about how this data is stored, shared, and protected. Any weakness in data protection could expose refugees to privacy risk or misuse of their personal information. Similar challenges are also faced by Bangladesh, which hosts over 1 million Rohingya refugees. Meanwhile, in Indonesia, where many Rohingya continue to arrive without valid identification documents. These cases show that managing refugee records accurately remains a major challenge across the region. That concludes my presentation. Next, I would like to hand it over to Shira, who will continue with the solution.
Thank you, Farhan, for introducing the background of the Rohingya refugee crisis, and thank you, ZHAFRI, for explaining the key issue related to refugee record management. Based on those challenges, I will now present 3 technology solutions that can improve refugee record management. The first solution is to implement an integrated digital records management system. Instead of storing refugee information in separate database, government agency, UNHCR, and humanitarian organizations should use a shared digital platform. This enables real-time updates, reduce duplicate records, and improve coordination between organizations. The second solution is to strengthen digital identity verification. Since many Rohingya refugees arrive without official identification documents, biometric technologies such as a fingerprint, facial recognition, and can create a unique digital identity for each individual. This reduces identity fraud, prevents duplicate registration, and enables refugees to receive a humanitarian assistance more efficiently. The third solution is to improve data privacy and cybersecurity measures. Refugee records contain highly sensitivity personal information, so organizations should implement encryption, multi-factor authentication, and role-based access control. In addition, emerging technologies such as artificial intelligence and cloud computing can improve data accuracy, detect and duplicate records, and enable secure information sharing between organizations. Overall, these technological solutions can improve accuracy, efficiency, and security of refugee record management. By adopting emerging technologies, organizations can better coordinate humanitarian assistance while protecting refugees' sensitive personal information. While this solution can significantly improve refugee records management, continuous improvement are still necessary to ensure the system remains effective in the future. To conclude my presentation, I would like to invite Atrisa to continue to meet the recommendation for future improvement. Thank you.
Thank you, Shira. You have clearly laid out the situation. But we need to be very honest about the core problem, the total lack of documentation. When individuals enter Malaysia without a passport or any official record, they are completely bypassing our immigration system. This isn't just a minor issue, it is a major challenge for our national security. To handle this crisis of unrecorded arrivals, we need to focus on 3 capital steps. First, we must prioritize biometric registration. Right now, the authorities struggle to track people who enter without travel documents. We need a system where every single person residing in our country has their identity recorded in a secure central database. If there is no record, there is no way for the government to manage or monitor who is inside our borders. Next, we have to dismantle the smuggling syndicates. These arrivals are not happening by accident. They are being managed by criminal syndicates. Our enforcement agencies need to focus their resources on stopping this group at source, the sea and the border. We must close these entry points so that illegal crossing becomes impossible. Anyone who enters our country without a valid passport is breaking our law, and our immigration authorities must be empowered to apply these laws strictly to protect the integrity of our nation. We cannot continue to ignore the risks that come with having thousands of people in the country with no official recourse. A passport is the only way a country can track and manage who is within its borders. Without it, our national security is at risk. For our team, this is the reality we must face to keep our country safe.